This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up, what's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, along with Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
I feel like for this podcast, I need to come up with like a name for you.
Yeah.
Because every single podcast I do, you've got Johnny's fellow man-child.
Yep.
Brandon was the one, the only. Do I just start calling you the one, the only Dave Oster?
I'm not the one, the only.
Yeah, you're not. Or do I do what Mark usually does, and I just call you the fear-filled host?
I am a fear-filled host, but
Like,
I'm not hosting the show.
Yeah, and that's
like, does that work?
I don't know. Mark did it when we did the NFL live mock.
He did, but I feel like that was a showcase episode.
That's what I thought as well. But I figured, I'm like, I got to come up with a name for Dave instead of just saying, hey guys, I'm here with Dave.
Yeah, I mean,
yep, that's it.
It works for me.
Very casual.
It's very
like
easy.
Dave Oster on the side of the table. But we are here, Primetime Podcast, talking about usually college football, college basketball, but we're kind of in draft mode as both seasons are over. Off season is usually where we go a little bit more into the draft, NFL and NBA style. And today's a big board, Dave. We're down to 2. After today, we're down to 1.
Yeah.
Only one big board left.
Time
and then
flies.
we just hand it off to the fast break for mock drafts for the rest of June.
My hand
before
off
we get
to myself.
Yeah, we give the hand up, we throw it up in the air, and we catch it ourselves. Now.
Yes, we do.
But how this is going to work is actually a convoluted podcast, as we will have the big board, but we got to start with more pressing issues, as the NFL draft is this week. I am doing the same thing I did last year, Dave. Last year, on top of Mark and I's mock draft, last year we did 5, this year we did 6. I do an extra mock draft the week of the draft, and it's usually our only one that involves trades. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the entire first round of the draft. It's only the first round.
Yeah, thank you.
With the trades, and then we'll talk about it for a little bit, and then we'll go right into the big board. Before I get into it, though, make sure you check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast to help support us. We are in a 10 by 12 box right now. We want to move to a bigger box. And how do we do that? Your help through patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. Link is down below in the description. But Dave, here is my first round mock with trades for this Thursday's NFL draft, which also, before it blanks my mind, you and I will be here Thursday live streaming the draft.
Yep.
Twitch.tv/mostvaluablepodcast. Make sure I wanted to get that out before I forgot. And then I'd get home editing and I'd be like, shit, I forgot to say that.
Just dub it over.
Oh, man. Basically, that's what I would do. But twitch.tv, Most Valuable Podcast, is where we will be before the draft. And we're going to try to do it here, which we usually haven't done. It's usually been at Dave's casa, but we're going to do it here in the studios. Yeah.
The storm is freaking me out, man.
The thunder is rolling, Dave. But let's kick it off. And here is my mock draft. Number 1, the Cardinals. They're going to take Kyler Murray. Nothing's going to change here. They're going to take Kyler Murray out of Oklahoma. Then the 49ers go Nick Bosa, defensive end out of the Ohio State. Then at 3, I have my first trade. The Redskins are going to move up from 15 to 3 with the Jets. And in exchange for that 3rd overall pick, the Jets are going to get a first-round pick, which is the 15. I am. I was fighting off a little burp while I was talking. Usually that happens a lot. But they will get the 15th overall pick, a second-round pick, which is the 46th overall, a third-rounder, which is the 96th, and then a first-round pick for next year. Reason why I did that was I tried to make it close to what the deal was last year for the Colts and Jets.
That's correct.
And by moving 15 to 3 instead of 6 to 3 and not having 2 seconds, I think the Redskins would have to give up a first for that. But the Redskins at 3 will take Dwayne Haskins, quarterback out of Ohio State. Then the Raiders at 4 go Josh Allen, outside linebacker from Kentucky. Then at 5, we got another trade. The Bengals are going to move up from 11. Is there flashy going on behind me?
Yeah, I'm giving away a little.
So the Bengals move up from 11 to 5, and the Bucs are going to get the 11th overall pick, the 42nd, which is a second, and then a first-round pick for next year. Bengals take Drew Lock out of Mizzou at 5. Then the Giants go, well, shit, we wanted a quarterback, but we're not going to panic. Quinnen Williams is there. We need help on the defensive line. They'll just go with defense at number 6. Then at 7, Jaguars go Juwan Taylor, offensive tackle from Florida. Then a third trade here in the top 10. You're thinking, Ricky, all the quarterbacks are gone. Like Daniel
who's going
Jones.
up?
the Panthers. They're going to move up. They're going to give up a first, a third, which will be the 16th and the 100th overall, and a first round next year to move up with the Lions. They're going to get Montez Sweat from Mississippi State. Then the Bills go with Brian Burns, edge rusher from Florida State. Then at number 10, the Broncos, they're going to go Devin Bush, linebacker from Michigan. Then the Bucks, with their pick via the Bengals, go at Devin White, linebacker out of LSU. Packers then go TJ Hockenson, tight end out of Iowa. Dolphins will go DK Metcalf, wide receiver, Ole Miss. Falcons go Ed Oliver, defensive tackle, Houston. The Jets, via the Redskins, will go Clelin Ferrell, defensive end out of Clemson. Then at 16, the Lions via the Panthers. Lions are going to move back again, and they are going to give up the 16th pick. That is going to go to Baltimore. And the Lions are going to get the 22nd overall and a third rounder. So they'll move back in the draft, but they'll get the 85th overall pick. Ravens are going to move up for a pass rusher. They're going to get Rashawn Gary, probably one of the last pass rushers you'd be able to get in the first round. Then the Giants, the reason why they didn't panic earlier is they're just going to take Daniel Jones at 17, a quarterback that they can do things with. Then at 18, Vikings go at Jonah Williams, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Titans will give Mariota a weapon to go to. They've got a slot guy. They've got Corey Davis. They're going to take Marquise Hollywood Brown, who can hopefully be that number 2 for them. The Steelers, this was the toughest one for me. Because they've got so many needs that they could really go with. They're going to go with Dexter Lawrence, the defensive tackle who's been falling a little bit in this one. And I'm just noticing, you know what? Screw it. I'm changing that. Live. I noticed I didn't have someone in here. They are not going to go with Dexter Lawrence. They're going to go with a Christian Wilkins, who I did not have. I'm looking down and I'm like, I didn't have Christian Wilkins in here. So they're
second time you forgot about that man.
Yeah. The live mock we did too.
No, I didn't.
We all did except for Dave. But Christian Wilkins then will be there to the Steelers at 20. Then the Seahawks at 21 will go with N'Keal Harry, a guy that Dave likes out of Arizona State. Then at 22, the Lions will go Chris Lindstrom, guard, because they need help on the right side of that line. Texans, they'll go Andre Dillard, offensive tackle, Washington State. Raiders go DeAndre Baker, cornerback out of Georgia. Eagles go Dalton Reisner, offensive tackle out of Kansas State. And then we have another trade. We've got the Seahawks now getting the 26th pick from the Colts and the 164th. So they're going to get a first and a fifth, and they're going to give Frank Clark, the defensive end, to the Colts. A guy that the Seahawks have franchise tagged many teams. The Colts are one of the teams in the running. I feel like the Colts would be the best spot because they've got the capital in the cap room to give him a contract at the end of the year and could get themselves an edge rusher. Seahawks with that pick, they'll take Byron Murphy, the cornerback out of Washington. Then we got the Raiders taking Paris Campbell, wide receiver out of OSU. Then the Chargers, I had Jerry Tillery here. That's going to change to Dexter Lawrence because of the Christian Wilkins change earlier on. So they'll go Dexter Lawrence, defensive tackle. Then the Chiefs go Greedy Williams, cornerback out of LSU. I know what I've said. I think he's a top 10 guy, but come Thursday, I think he probably will fall because I am not the GM of these teams. Then the Packers will take A.J. Brown to match T.J. Hockenson. Noticing how they're going T.J. and A.J. with these picks.
I like it.
Then we have our last trade, Dave. I wanted to, with all my heart, to have the Saints trade into this spot and to march in and take Will Grier. I just have no... Let's put it this way. I don't think there's an ideal world where the Rams trade with the Saints after what happened last year.
Grudges hold.
I don't see it happening. Broncos, though, are going to trade up. They are going to get the 31st pick and a 4th-round pick, the 132nd. They're going to give to L.A. the 41st overall pick, which is a second-rounder, plus the 125th. So that's basically the Rams moving up in the 4th and the Broncos moving back, plus a second-round pick next year. Broncos then move into the first round ahead of the Patriots to snatch Noah Fant away from New England. So they get their tight end anyways.
I like it.
And then the Patriots end it with Cody Ford at the end. They'll probably trade out at that point, but I couldn't find Actually, that's one where the Saints could come in and trade with them, but I'm just going to have them go Cody Ford, guard out of Oklahoma. So that is my final mock, the one I'm throwing out there with trades.
Yep.
What are your thoughts after now hearing the whole thing?
It's a bold pick there, Cotton.
There are a lot of bold picks.
It's going to pay off. I think the big question for me is who's the team that you think is going to move the hardest? Like they're gonna absolutely jump up on boards because you had a lot of trades going. But do you think there's one team that desperately needs to do that? Because I feel like some of these are neat, some of these are like I think it'd be a great fit if they reached. Who do you think the team who was like we have to get there?
See, I think it's the Redskins, and this is the whole thing. Like I know that today I was kind of searching, and they actually did. Let's see. I want to pull up who the actual interview was with, or the press conference, I should say. I want to get the name right when I say I'm quoting them. But okay, so Doug Williams for the Redskins did a press conference, and he was asked by reporters about drafting a quarterback and trading up. Yeah. And the things that he said in his press conference, the first one, which by the way, he's the senior vice president of player personnel. The first one was, and this is from Adam Schefter, we were able to trade for Case, but that does not put us out of drafting a quarterback if there is somebody that we like at 15. Ooh. So he said, hey, there's guys we like at 15. We're going to look there. But the other thing he also said that was interesting was that there's a better chance of them trading down than trading up for a quarterback.
So who's the later quarterback they're looking at then?
See, I'm thinking two things. If that's true, which by the way, smoke screen.
Totally at this point.
If that's true, then it's either you're looking for Daniel Jones to be there or you're looking for Will Grier later on in the draft.
I know Will Grier's become a late set honeymoon phase with us.
Which I could see, but then there's stories now that teams are falling in love. Like a week or two ago was, oh my God, could Dwayne Haskins fall in the draft? Yeah. Now it seems draft week, everyone's falling in love with Dwayne Haskins magically. Yet again, is this a smokescreen? Is this to get people like, hey, we want to throw them off the scent because we want Drew Lock? Yeah. I think the Redskins, I'm going to say, need to go up and draft a quarterback because, I mean, I look at it and it's just one of those things where Case Keenum's only here for a year. Are you going to want to be in that limbo next year? When Alex Smith potentially returns. Basically, and if he ever returns. Because there are people saying that he'll probably never return. The Bengals, to me, are that team. The reason why I put that trade in, it was kind of like, it was almost like a Kansas City Chief type of trade. Yeah. Where no one thought they were going to trade up for Mahomes. Yep. Because they had Alex Smith. But I look at Andy Dalton. He is not the guy of, like, they have a new coach coming in. Obviously, he didn't pick him. He's got 1 year on the contract next year. If you like Drew Lock, why not trade up ahead of the Giants to get there? And I could see the Bucs. They're a team that traded with Buffalo last year when Buffalo traded up for Josh Allen. And then the other ones were just the Panthers where they're sitting at, what would that be, 16? There might not be a pass rusher that falls to them at that point, so they might have to trade up to get one. Same thing with the Ravens, like trading up to get that pass rusher is what they'll probably have to do. And then the Seahawks and Broncos were just Seahawks trading up to get a tight end, so they get their tight end and linebacker that they want. And then the Seahawks, I think they will, because they have only like 4 or 5 picks, they have to make a move. They have to deal Frank Clark, in my mind, to get either that. Right now, from what I'm seeing from NFL.com, it's either the Eagles, Chiefs, or Colts. So they've got to get the 25th, 26th, or 29th picks in the draft in order to get another pick, get another first rounder, and not have to pay Frank Clark moving forward. Are there any final thoughts that you have about this or about anything before we move on into meat and potatoes? I think we're good to go. So this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below, obviously, of my last first-round mock draft. Yet again, Thursday, we will be here live, twitch.tv/Most Valuable Podcast is where Dave and I will be live streaming the draft. Then we're going to record our normal Onside Kick Draft Edition podcast afterwards. That one probably won't be live as usual, but we will be live streaming during the draft. So join us for that first round Thursday. 7 o'clock is what we're shooting for because that's when the draft goes live, but we may be on a little bit before that. So just hit that follow button on Twitch, and then it'll notify you when we go live.